Great good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Tuesday, July 21, year of our Lord, 2026, 9:09 a.m. on my Cordaro Jewelers watch. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and I am broadcasting today from the United States of America, the place where the brave, like the soldiers we've lost in Iraq, from Iraq, and the veterans we salute today, thanks to John Basiliga and his great Serenity Care senior living community. Like Robert Ryan of Taylor, Earl Hoden, late of Arlington, Virginia, but he was from Scranton, Daniel Belinsky, Bloomsburg, and Sheldon Groner, Bloomsburg. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our amazing, irreplaceable, and profoundly wise founding fathers who knew that government should not be and set about to make sure it would not be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation, not any of these things, because they knew that government power means less freedom, less liberty, and less choice for Americans, and that power in human hands will always be abused. The United States of America, the country where for the first time in human history, freedom was declared by law to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. Now, because they were armed with these freedoms, and only because of that fact, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, these Americans, many of them rejects from around the world, they and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse, and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. And it wasn't a coincidence. These freedoms made all of this happen because America, it's the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so we gavel to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our total, immersive, immovable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here for the balance of this singular, extraordinary morning. Well, great to be back with you. What is it? It's a Tuesday, huh? Not bad. And all of you, there's so many of you who participate in making this program what it is. And I talk about it. I'm not trying to be self-deprecating. I'm just trying to tell you that you guys are great. And I'm even the haters, even the trolls. There's people that just, I don't know, they just are literally incapable of acknowledging and living their lives according to fact, truth, and reality, at least their political lives. But we still love them. We care for them. But we don't have time to, play patty cake here. Because as you're being silly and wrong, there's people who are being evil and dangerous that you're following. And we see it, they call it the so-called split in the Democrat Party. There is no split in the Democrat Party. It's a battle over who's going to win. And are they under a certain banner like Democrat Socialists of America? But I pointed out yesterday, and it's going to bear much repeating. If you're a voter, a Democrat voter today, you are voting for open borders, the destruction of the United States Senate and Supreme Court, the degradation at the very least of police and law enforcement, boys and young men and adult men in girls, young women, and women's sports. You're voting for all of it. I don't know why, because it was a gradual degradation, I guess you could say, but it was a gradual evolution towards lunacy in the Democrat Party. They were always wrong about a lot of things, the Soviet threat and all of this, but it wasn't dangerous. It wasn't a threat to the body politic. It wasn't a threat to the country. So Obama made liberalism fashionable because everybody was so excited. Oh, he's an African-American president. Oh, my God. It really revolting. And he could do no wrong, and he's the Messiah, blah, 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 blah. He was less than mediocre as president. The only thing you can say about Obama as president, he did not perform as an insane person. So then you get the intervening 4 years of Trump, where he did a pretty good job. Could not overcome the messaging of the left, particularly when COVID struck. And then could not overcome the cheating, and it was on a massive scale, and it was organized. Could not overcome the cheating that took place in the 2020 election. And by the way, if you're still sitting around saying, oh, no, they didn't cheat in the 2020 election, it was a great election. Yeah. The Democrat votes for Joe Biden for a complete zero went up $10 million over Barack Obama, and then immediately went back down below for Kamala Harris, went immediately back down to the levels that they had been forever. Yeah, there was just all of a sudden 10 million votes just were created. And I remind you when we discuss this always, there was the 1,000, 2,000 mules, whatever that. There were those efforts, the mail-in ballots, cheating on a substantial, probably massive scale with mail-in ballots, number one. Number two, the Mark Zuckerberg effort, $419 million, which he spent in all the key districts, counties, from Michigan to Pennsylvania to Georgia, Arizona, to essentially co-opt and take over their voter registration and their voter bureaus and make sure that a ton of Democrat votes were created. That's what happened. And by the way, I will add, I cannot prove the election was stolen. Anyone who says it was stolen, I could prove it, is not, they're wrong. Anyone who says there was not a concerted, massive, multi-pronged effort to steal the 2020 election is wrong. So now in 2024, you literally had to get too many votes for the cheat not to work. Now, why can the Democrats do this and the Republicans can't? Number one, it's not in our nature. We don't want government that badly. Like, we don't want control of government that badly. We basically want it to be out of our face. But The Democrats not only are creatures of government, then you get these NGOs and foundation people and educational people and the public unions and the nonprofits, and they're desperate for the government because it's their lifeline, financial and otherwise. It's everything to them. So they will do anything to win. And do anything they can to win. And the other part of that is it's easier. It's a hell of a lot easier to have someone vote 5 times in Philadelphia or not be identifiable in a mail-in ballot than it is in Montrose. So it's just a natural ease of cheating. And these things are what they are. And it's the reality, and it's like, okay, stop whining and get off your ass and vote in November. You're normal. You think normally. Your distaste for politics is normal. But your unwillingness to participate because of that distaste, to vote against the left-wing lunatics, it's why we've got Mamdani in New York. Do you know he got 7% of eligible voters in New York City, and now he's destroying it at warp speed? This is crazy stuff here. So, in any event, that's the deal. And, is the Iranian war, was it snap, bing, zoom, zoom, zoom? No. There was some reason to believe it would be, but now it isn't. This is the reality. And this is the second Nazi Germany. And they've got enough people and enough resources to be a danger to the world and the world economy. And they've got an ideology that's every bit as sick as Nazism. And Trump did what he did. And he could have waited till after the midterms, and I'll give him monster kudos. He could have waited till after the midterms, and there would have been more loss of American life. Now, the mainstream Democrats, which they're not in the main at all, the left-stream Democrats, they hate not having power, but they don't hate America. They love to use it. That's where they get their power. But these people on the left, they don't even put a fig leaf over their hatred for this country. All right. So that's the diatribe for the moment. Roach Supply, premier bath and kitchen supplier, Northeast Pennsylvania. 75 years in business, 95-year-old Ron Roach at the helm, generations beneath him working side by side every day. Visit roachsupply.com today, ROCHE. Most important part of your house, the most expensive part of your house, bath and kitchen. This is who you see. You could go roachsupply.com, or you could go to Chapman Supply in South Abington Township, or Roach Supply in Honesdale. Anywhere you go, they'll take good care of you. We'll be back. Murph tells us July 21st, 1962. Bobby Vinton had the number one hit with Roses Are Red. I keep forgetting to look into what was the Bobby Vinton mafia connection, Italian mafia connection. He was the Polish prince. But they obviously had influence on his career and stuff. And they, just for example, like in Goodfellas, he's highlighted as appearing at the Copacabana and buying a bottle of champagne for somebody he didn't buy a bottle of champagne for, by the way. But interesting. I'm just always curious about that, and I've got no problem with it. Different era and all that. So we're back. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Hey, Rob O'Donnell, our great afternoon host, he had to be an incredible detective. He just finds these things. So there's a fundraiser, and it's put on Facebook or wherever. Jason Landau Goodman. Now, I don't know about you guys. And I don't mean this for everyone. Please take it in the spirit it's intended. When you use three names, I don't know why. It just, I'm put on alert, not edge. I'm put on alert because you can't make a decision or I don't get it anyway. So Jason Landau Goodman, Bala Kinwood. Okay, that's a suburb of Philadelphia, parts of it very wealthy. He says, tonight I hosted a Scranton Mayor, Paige Cognetti, at my home for a fundraiser, supporting her as she runs for Congress to represent Northeastern PA. I've known her for several years now, and she is truly the real deal. Now, what's the real deal for Jason Landau Goodman? He's a left-wing sicko, okay? We'll get to that. She stands for a government that works for the people. Well, there's your lie. Government doesn't work for the people. And she's firmly against corruption wherever it exists, except if you give her big campaign contributions, then she'll spend $2 million in tax dollars for a building we don't need. But that's not corruption, no. She's against corruption. She has a serious track record to show for it. She's got no track record. She jumped from job to job to job. I want one accomplishment of the Mayor Paige Cognetti mayoral administration. Just one. Give me one. And I'll be happy to discuss it, by the way. With 30-plus neighbors, we raised over $16,000 tonight. This race will probably cost over $10 million. Well, it's a lot more because the left-wing dark money has already spent $8.5 million against Rob Bresnahan from before he even got sworn in. And Paige Cognetti was running for the congressional seat, and this is another of her total lies. She was running for the congressional seat the day Matt Cartwright got beat by Rob Bresnahan. Anyway, the race will probably cost over $10 million. No, they're going to spend 20 or 30 on Paige's behalf. She's every living room she fills with supporters matters across Northeast PA, across PA. Our road to a pro-decency majority. Pro-decency. The guy's a sick little bastard. All right. And the U.S. House runs right through PA. Thank you to everyone who came out this evening and over this year in support of Mayor Cognetti. Let's go, Paige. Let's go, PA. Now, here's his deal. This is Mr. Landau Goodman, Jason Landau Goodman. While it's become a Trump administration target, gender-affirming care for trans youth is still legal in Pennsylvania, said Jason Landau Goodman. This is the fundraiser for Paige, board chair of the Pennsylvania Youth Congress, a goofball, empty-headed young person's organization. We know of providers, but we're very careful to make sure that those providers are protected. And so we can really just say at this time, there are providers in Pennsylvania. In other words, Jason Goodman has made as his deal the mutilation of children. Now, let's be clear where I'm coming from. I believe there's gender dysphoria. And when you're an adult, you can decide anything, any which way you need to handle that. Let's hope you don't get the wrong therapist who tells you to do the wrong thing, but that's a separate issue. This guy, Paige Cognetti's supporter, and Paige Cognetti are for mutilation of children, pharmacologically and surgically. They're for it. When I say to you, Paige Cognetti is in on every left-wing lunatic idea, I can prove it, and this is more proof. Here's what this idiot says. Many families, though, are leaving Pennsylvania for places including Chicago, Boston, and Maryland that are more outwardly protective of gender-affirming care for kids. You see this sickness? So this silly little twerp is running fundraisers for her, for Paige Cognetti. She's all in on it. Bob, let's get Jason Landau Goodman on here. Why would I talk to him? Seriously. He's an idiot. He's a complete idiot. His issue and Paige's issue is mutilation of gender-confused kids. That's their issue. What sensible thing would I have to talk to him about? Seriously. Please tell me. These are Paige's supporters. This is Paige's agenda. It's sick. It's literally sick, twisted, and that is evil. And we've seen it time and time and time and time again. It's evil. How disgusting. So there's your Paige. When water main was breaking, the mayor of Scranton nowhere to be found except in the beer tent at the soccer event downtown or announcing a band. And then she's flitting off to Bala Cynwyd, where a bunch of left-wing idiots, white idiots, raised money at some shishi apartment for her campaign. That's where she was. We were wondering. She was raising money out of town from people who love to mutilate children. Wow. 9:35, I'm on Ricardo's Watch. We'll be back. Our Veterans Tribute today, as with every day, this hour, as with every hour, brought to you by John Basiliga. Well, it's Tuesday, so what do we talk about? We talk about Serenity Care, a personal care community with 4 senior living facilities in the Mid-Valley section of Lackawanna County, Old Forge on its southern tip, and they're also in Wyoming and Kingston. These places are gorgeous. They've been totally renovated. Inside and out, I'm telling you, clean, beautiful. I love that nursing home smell. It's a respectable place to live. For you, for your loved one, Serenity Care is the answer. They tell you, live better. Robert Ryan, he was 87 when we lost him July 14th. He was from Taylor. He was the beloved husband of the former Rosemary Pinto Ryan, with whom he had shared 45 wonderful years of marriage. Born in Scranton, a graduate at Johnson Technical Institute following high school, Robert served honorably in the United States Army, including 3 years stationed in Germany as a military policeman. His love for his family remained paramount throughout his life, especially his devotion to his beloved wife, Rosemary. Their bond, rooted in deep affection and mutual respect, served as an enduring example for their family. Robert's life was characterized by his unwavering commitment to service. He was a devoted parishioner of St. Anne's Basilica and found great joy in his faith and involvement within the church community. His career as a mail carrier with the United States Postal Service reflected his dedication to serving others. A mailman. Love it. He was a man of many interests, avid train and military aircraft enthusiast. He loved his New York teams, the Giants, the Yankees, and the Rangers. He cherished quiet evenings at home with his beloved dog Tinsel while working crossword puzzles or enjoying a good book. In addition to his wife Rosemary, he's survived by 2 sons, 4 grandchildren, many beloved nieces and nephews. Robert Ryan, our great veteran this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care. Live better. AccuWeather forecast brought to you by the gang at Montage Mountain Resorts. Well, I mean, every day can't be a perfect water park day, but I got to tell you, I'm there on a rainy day, and it was pretty cool anyway. Today, a few thunderstorms. Don't forget, they have this huge, probably one of the biggest arcades in Northeast Pennsylvania. Today, a few thunderstorms, some severe, cloudy and humid. Storms can bring flooding downpours, hail, damaging wind gusts, and an isolated tornado if it doesn't get any worse. High 80. Tonight, humid and a heavy thunderstorm early, low 68. Tomorrow, sunshine and some clouds with a thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots. It'll be humid on Wednesday, high 80, low 55. Thursday, less humid with plenty of sunshine, 81 degrees, low 53. Friday, mostly sunny, 83 degrees, low 56. Saturday, mostly sunny, high 85, low 57. But so in other words, it's another great week, maybe not today, but another great week to head to Montage and just check out that water park and hang out and be cool. 72 degrees at Montage right now. Barry Maguire. Murph tells us this date, 1965, he released his hit, Eve of Destruction. Murph says that's what it will be if the Dems socialists take over. Yep. Bob Cordaro back. Let's see what Joe from Trips Park has to say. He says, at this stage, anyone who has flipped a car loan can make a small donation to Cognetti and expect the city of Scranton to buy the car above its value. Somebody else helpfully had texted in, don't forget about Obama's Nobel Peace Prize for doing nothing, just for existing. Yeah. He was sub-mediocre. And he's become a left-wing idiot after the presidency. And like, arrogant. And he always was that way. And that, by the way, that's a sign of insecurity. But who wouldn't be insecure? Michelle probably beats him at night. Anyway, somebody said, Bob, I was watching some videos on YouTube last night, and every 2 minutes or so, an advertisement for Page would come up. Lots of money being spent. Yep. Another, never mind the number of homicides going up in Scranton, numerous infrastructure problems, major drug bust, and gang activity in Scranton. We need to worry about a 7-year-old who thinks he's a girl. Yep. It's insane. This woman is insane. Paige Cognetti is insane. She's divorced from fact, truth, and reality. And I want you to know before you think, well, I'm a Democrat and I voted Democrat. Know who you're voting for. You're voting to mutilate kids. Paige Cognetti will mutilate children who are gender confused. Disgusting. By the way, somebody texted in, between Bobby Vinton's song and just discovering a duffel bag of old love letters between my high school boyfriend, later my husband, which had been stolen from my porch. It was military stuff. It wasn't when my dad's ladder was switched. Well, I'm not figuring out the whole text, but will they steal my wheelchair next? Ginny? Gosh, is Ginny. They stole something off your porch? I hate to hear that. We love our Ginny. Somebody else, the greatest accomplishment of Comrade Cognetti's administration is getting startup funding for drug dealers in Scranton. Yeah, there's an accomplishment. And by the way, I'll to throw it in, I'll bring my kids to the grand opening. Yep. I won't check with the police and find out if these are nefarious characters. Oh, and I won't check when I do my corruption announcement. I won't check if the woman standing next to me had stolen $60,000 from the Wyoming Area School District. I won't check that either. See, this is when you are a left-winger, committed left-winger like Paige Cognetti, you don't have a grasp on fact, truth, and reality. You cannot. There's exceptions to everything, obviously. You can't be good at your job. You cannot be. It's just what is. She's a disaster. She's incompetent. I live in Scranton. It's a nightmare having her in charge. Totally absent. Never around. That's even before she was running for Congress. Now it's like a major water main break that affects thousands of people and businesses downtown. She's MIA. And Rob Bresnahan and his wife Chelsea are passing essentials out to the people affected. There's your dichotomy right there. And somebody says, yeah, dear Bob ALTS. While Paige was absent, Rob Bresnahan was there with water and cleaning supplies. Well, no, she had to be at the child mutilation fundraiser. One of the head child mutilators in the state. She had to be with him. Of course, I understand. Another Bob LTS. I cringe every time I see Cognetti lying, false, and defaming commercial against Rob Bresnahan. Shame on her, but I know that her money is dirty money aimed at destroying our country. She's a disgrace. Listeners, please don't be swayed by evil, says Mountaintop. Yeah. She's your typical politician. She gives herself a $30,000 pay raise and runs for another office. You know, I didn't even think of it that way. LTS back at you. Didn't even think about that. Another Bob, did you see AOC doing the Southern accent? What a joke. Look at, she's an airhead. She's a complete airhead. There's nothing in there. I'm starting to think this about Cognetti, too, by the way. The less she says, the better off she is. Just do your pre-programmed left-wing talking points and your fake moderate talking points, and nobody will ask you any questions. That's why she won't come on in shows like this. Nobody will ask you any real questions or follow-ups, and you'll get by. You'll get by being dumb. Unbelievable. Well, the sweep hand on my Picardo's watch tells me we're headed to 9:50, which is time for Bloomberg Money Minute. Let us do that, and then we'll come back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. The Beatles. This date, 1969, Murph tells us they started recording their hit Come Together. Bob Cordaro back. Good morning and greetings, Bob, ALTS. ALTS back at you. The best thing about Paige Cognetti's campaign ad is when they say that we need to turn the page. They got that right. We certainly need to turn the page and end this phony's destructive ways. Yeah, you're 100% right. It's so fake. It's so disgustingly fake. Whew. Somebody back at LTS, and I say LTS back at you. Now that you're a Hugh Jackman fan, you need to watch The Sheep Detectives, a great movie. I'll probably never get to it. You know why? Because I watched Godfather 1 and 2 last night. I'm like you. I got to get away from the politics. I'm like, okay, fine. I've been around it long enough, studied it long enough, all of that. I don't have to watch every program. So I watched Godfather 1 and 2 with Chauncey last night. Any event. There's a G-Dunk, who always sends me great stuff. G-Dunk sent me something from the Pocono Review. And I've been seeing things from Pocono Review. And they're good. They're interesting. They're aggressive. They're truthful. Now, here's what G-Dunk sent me. What should happen before August 2nd, which is the closing date for this Fidelity Bank building? And I mean, can these council members get your gonads together and overturn this sale? She's already proven we don't need the building by offering to rent it out. You don't need a police surveillance program in the building. That was the fig leaf, because she wanted the building and they wanted the parking underneath. Well, then rent the parking. Anyway, let's go back to this. Pocono Review writing about it. The police have their own headquarters. I just drove by it yesterday. They have their own headquarters. That's where police activity should go. Insane. Anyway, but this article from Pocono Review, which, again, I urge you to check it out now and then, because things that have been sent to me have been very interesting. But it says, release the appraisal and let residents judge the price. Have Cognetti say on the record when she learned her uncle sat on Fidelity's board. Oh, it was even before they started raising money for her. She never discussed that. Disclose the full scope of the city's relationship with the bank, deposits, program administration, notes, leases, and have the council, before it approves another dollar, ask whether this purchase was ever at arm's length from the woman who runs the buyer, Mayor Cognetti. Don't forget, it was the three blind mice, two of them who left the council, who voted after the election, with the mayor to buy this white elephant. Just remember that. The three blind mice. Oh, and what's her name? Is this another person with three names? Rothschild. Yeah, this Miss Compassion. She voted for it too. Remember that. Anyway, the documents were always there, the Pocono Review says. The SEC filings, the vote tallies, a congressman's disclosure, the bank's own website, the FBI's crime data. They tell a bigger story than the mayor in a building. A surveillance center built inside a financial relationship between a government and a bank, running through federal housing money, municipal lending, campaign donations, a $5 million grant, and a family tie to the one director who advised the board on exactly this kind of deal. Yeah, the Pocono Review. I'm telling you, they don't mince words. I'm not saying they're right every time. I don't know. I haven't read it enough. I haven't followed enough. But what I've seen, and now they've nailed They've nailed this insane deal by Paige Cognetti rewarding her contributors. It's insane. And it's corrupt as spit. It's corrupt as spit. That's why she's attacking corruption with a woman who stole $60,000 from the Wyoming area school district standing next to her. Insane. Insane. Incompetent and insane. The horrible combination. 10:02 and change on my Bacardo Jewelers watch. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. You know it, baby, when we're fighting it every day. Great good morning, everyone. It is 10:11 and change on my Cordaro Jewelers watch. This beautiful Tuesday, July 21st, year of our Lord 20 and 26 here in the great Northeast, and I suspect a few other places as well. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great Serenity Care personal care community, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today, thanks to John, like Robert Ryan of Taylor, Earl Hoden, late of Arlington, Virginia, but he was from Scranton, Daniel Belinsky, Bloomsburg, and Sheldon Groner, Bloomsburg. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue this battle, gaveling back to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you who hearken here. He is so great and he's so relentless. Jason Landau Goodman, okay, the fundraiser for Paige Cognetti. Paige Cognetti, she loves child mutilation, all right? And this guy is like, he's the poster man for it, apparently. At least he's making himself such, which is why he supports Paige, because she supports the sick, evil practice. All right. He says, yesterday I went to Harrisburg. The Pennsylvania State Senate Banking and Insurance Committee voted to advance SB 1321, a cruel bill that would deny gender-affirming medical care to young trans Pennsylvanians on government insurance like CHIP and Medicaid. In other words, it's cruel because we're going to give these massive health institutions, we're going to give them your money. That's what Jason Landau Goodman wants. The bill passed out of committee. We didn't stop it there. But you show up, you make the case, and you keep coming back. The same person who showed up in Harrisburg yesterday is the person who will show up every day for Lower Merion, Narberth, and White Marsh. He's running for some office, apparently, this slime ball. Jason Landau Goodman, Paige Cognetti's fundraiser and political ally. Is this disgusting? He wants CHIP and Medicaid to pay for child mutilation. Paige Cognetti wants CHIP and Medicaid to pay for child mutilation. Just so you know where she's coming from. This is fake smiling Paige. Like all committed left-wingers, and unfortunately in the Democrat Party, you are pressured constantly by these lunatics. She's taken money from a person who wants to mutilate children, and she wants to mutilate children. That's it. There it is. His number one issue, mutilating children. Do you imagine how sick this person is? And Paige smiling, beaming with Mr. Goodman. Wow. These are scary people. These are sick people. This is evil. So Paige Cognetti has descended into evil. Sick. Absolute sick. That's his issue. That's why he raised money for Paige, because it's her issue. Thank you, Rob O'Donnell. It is so beyond the pale. It is so wrong. There actually is no defense of it. Now, let me give you the alternative, the conservative alternative. A child is born, and as this child develops, they've got a dysphoria. Now, you don't send them to some idiot. And there are plenty, by the way, to advise you and the child to immediately take action. But here's what you do. You treat that child with compassion and care and concern because something's obviously wrong. And you deal with it. And you accommodate it to the extent you can. But you also remember, you're the parent. They're not going to wear girls' clothes. They're not going to try to get into the girls' bathroom. And you're going to ride this out with love, concern, and care. And when that child is an adult, then that child can make the decision for themselves. Well, it's a series of decisions. And they ain't easy. And like the mutilation that Paige Cognetti wants and Mr. Goodman, her fundraiser, wants, they are permanent. You can't reverse them. Chopping the breast off young girls. Can't reverse them. The child becoming an adult may reverse themselves multiple times during their life. They've got a problem. So instead of compassion, you pretend that transgenderism is a friggin' club that people need to join. That's sick. That's evil. Well, Paige Cognetti will lie at the drop of a hat. She lied about her entire campaign, why she ran, when she decided to run. Why wouldn't she? Everything Rob Bresnahan has done, she's lied about all that. Cuts to Medicaid and Medicare that didn't happen. By the way, she was against the big mediocre bill, which gave $50 billion to rural hospitals, which is every hospital in Northeast Pennsylvania. So I guess if you're a liar, I guess if you're a phony, at some point you descend into evil. And that's what Paige Cognetti and this little spit, Mr. Goodman, her fundraiser, have done. Oh, and corruption, yeah. You buy a building that you don't need for the city taxpayers with our money. Yeah, it's only $2 million. It's only going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for a building you don't need, and you're going to, but the bonus on top, the whipped cream on the spit, is that you're going to not only use the taxpayers' money to bail out your buddies, your fundraisers, remember, follow the money. You're not going to do that. You're then going to slap every developer in Scranton right in the face with a slap and a backhand by renting out the building and competing with them. God almighty. Here's something that I've been talking about. Somebody texting, good morning, Bob, ALTS, back at you. More madness from Cognetti. She hired a private contractor last fall to paste crosswalks all over the city at a cost of $300,000. And now the paint is all worn off in most areas. Unbelievable madness. Not only that, she paved over it on my street. They paved over it because the $300,000 crosswalk painting, which is fading faster than Cognetti's credibility, that $300,000, it had to be done before her election for mayor. Yeah, oh, she's using your money to advance her interests? Isn't that fascinating? She gave herself a $30,000 raise knowing she didn't even want to be the mayor? Yeah. Somebody texted in, and you're not wrong. Mayor deserves at least 100 grand. I have no qualms about that. She doesn't want to be the mayor. Now, how do I know that? Because she's running for another office. Let's go aside from the subjective observations I'm making, that she's never here, that she's always out of town, that she's flitting around with her left-wing pals all over the country and in Washington, D.C., and that she's not around for the water crisis we just endured in downtown Scranton. She's running for another office. Unbelievable. Somebody says, Bob, sounds like you're a little concerned about our mayor beating your man in the fall. Oh, I'm more than concerned. I'm beyond concerned that idiots like you are going to vote for her because you're stupid. That's what I'm concerned about. Yeah, I'm concerned about you. And Paige Cognetti representing me on a broader scale, in a more damaging way. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. Yep. Jim Croce, Murph tells us this date, 1973, had a #1 hit with Bad Bad Leroy Brown. It was based on a tough guy, Murph tells us, that he met while in the U.S. Army a few years earlier. And, you know, those story songs, we got to play them. Come on. You don't need to hear my voice the whole 3 hours. By the way, you heard the Lift and Level commercial that I do. One thing about it I noticed, I said, now I chew gum while I'm doing the show. And I don't know if it adds to it, but I think I'm getting a little bit of a lisp or more of a lisp than I had. So I hope it doesn't bother you. I've always thought lisps were cute. Anyway, but it may be I'm getting more of one. Regardless, speaking of sidewalks, like Lift and Level takes care of, a contractor, a builder, texted me and said, you can't imagine the amount of change orders. You know, all these sidewalk construction things? Like we have one on Main Drag. I go over to the Forest Street Tavern last week, and I'm saying they're doing sidewalks here? Like this is what an incompetent mayor will do. They're doing sidewalks where no one walks on Main Avenue near the Scranton Expressway. That aside, the contractor says you can't imagine the amount of change orders on the construction work downtown on the roads. Very poorly planned project. Points out further, all these improvements and everything else she's doing, it's nothing more than the ARPA funds. Yeah, the COVID money. She hasn't been successful at all. It's an illusion. Yep. And she misused those funds in spectacular fashion. Handed $69 million, the street should have been paved with gold. Should have been paved with gold. So thank you for that. It's just crazy. It's a level of incompetence that's just... Slick says, Bob LTS, just don't start stuttering like Biden because I won't be able to listen anymore. Somebody else said, lisps are cute. That's exactly what someone with a lisp would say. ALTS back at you. Very, very good. Back to more serious subjects. Bob, she's part of a party that's being taken over by a bunch of lunatics. And they openly say they despise the Democrats, but are using them as a vessel to gain power. Page is one of them. And the traditional Democrats don't seem to realize it because they just blindly vote for someone with a D next to their name. They're essentially inviting the Trojan horse right into Greenridge. Yep. Another. Don't forget, Comrade Cognetti removed the pool in Naog. Claimed the funding to replace it was not available, then made the taxpayers fund the new pool. Well, the splash pad. And by the way, teenagers from middle and working class are the main ones that a pool will be used for. It's not available because of Paige Cognetti, her incompetence and her agenda and ideology. Yeah. Unbelievable. It's incompetence and corruption at a level that we have never seen. We really haven't. And the phoniness of she's the anti-corruption candidate, she's Page against the machine. She's funded by the machine. She's funded by the Soros family. Poet Joe texted. He says, why don't you just start talking like Sylvester the cat? Oh, Lord. All right. I should have never mentioned it because you people apparently didn't notice it until I said so. 10:33 on the Picardo's watch. We'll take a break and be back with a Veterans Tribute and the weather after this. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, as with every hour, this day as with every day. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. All his companies mean quality and value because that's what he believes in. That's what he lives for. And on Tuesdays, we talk about Serenity Care. It's a personal care community with 4 senior living facilities in the Mid-Valley section of Lackawanna County. Old Forge at its southern tip, and then Wyoming and Kingston. Just drive by these places, and you will see they are a cut above the rest. They've been completely renovated inside and out. All-inclusive monthly rent, newly renovated state-of-the-art private and semi-private rooms, suites, companion suites, individually controlled heating and cooling, daily housekeeping, laundry, freshly prepared restaurant-quality meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Serenity Care. Earl Hoden. We lost him July 14th. He was living in Arlington, Virginia. He was formerly of Scranton. He was 88 years old. He was a pediatric surgeon. He was an Air Force major, retired. He was a golfer, a pianist, a wine aficionado, and a friend. Earl Hoden is survived by his sons, his adoring grandchildren, cousins, nieces, nephews, grandnieces, and grandnephews. Buried out of the Carlucci Golden DeSantis Funeral Home in Dunmore. Earl Hoden. Daniel Belinsky, 68, too young. Formerly of Bloomsburg, a Marine veteran. We lost him July 1st. Born in Bloomsburg, he was a Union pipe fitter for years. He was a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, serving from 1975 to 1979. Surviving his 2 children, his 4 grandchildren, and other family members. Daniel Belinsky. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care, a senior living community. They tell you, live better. AccuWeather forecast today. A few thunderstorms possible, some severe, cloudy and humid. Storms can bring flooding, downpours, hail, damaging wind gusts, and an isolated tornado, high 80. Tonight, humid. Heavy thunderstorm early, low 68. Tomorrow, sunshine, some clouds with a thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots. It'll be humid tomorrow, high 80, low 55. Thursday, less humid, plenty of sunshine, high 81, low 53. Friday, mostly sunny, high 83, low 56. Saturday, mostly sunny, high 85, low 57. Sounds like another amazing week at Montage Mountain at their great water park, where it's 73 degrees right now. Oh, what a good song. Murph tells us this date, 1973. George Harrison moved up to number 6 with his hit, Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. Bob Cordaro, WILK. There's too many too many people interfering with peace on Earth. Like the Iranian sickos, the communists, Chinese. We could name a few others. They're not going to let anybody have peace. Now, here's the wise guys coming out. I make a comment. This says, come on, Bob, let me hear you say you're despicable. Well, actually, the favorite one, you know how we play George C. Scott for one of our openings. But my favorite is, he says, despicable. But I think you're referring, obviously, to Sylvester the Cat. Despicable. I don't say despicable, but I can imitate Sylvester. Anyway, G. Dunk, another email he sends in. Iran executed 2 young men for offering to help fleeing anti-regime protesters. New York Post reporting this. They are evil. That's evil. Absolutely evil. I'm telling you, if anybody thinks it's okay for the Islamist sickos in Iran to have a nuclear weapon, there's something wrong with you. There really is. Yeah, obviously, you're voting Democrat. You're voting left wing on top of all that. There's despicable. You don't get it? Really? Oh, this war of choice. Yeah, he chose to do it before they blackmailed the world and the world economy. You guys know I don't agree with Trump on everything. I'd say 95% of his policies, how he talks about them and all that. Once you get past the humor, sometimes I'm not in on the joke. Anyway, hey, this program, it's brought to you on YouTube, live stream. You go to WILK, Bob Cordaro Show, YouTube. I'm wearing my, it's black with a beautiful American flag, all-time great outfit, shirt anyway. And it's brought to you by Roach Supply, the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania. They're celebrating 75 years in business. 95-year-old Ron Roach, my buddy, my next-door neighbor, my old next-door neighbor. He's still there. And generations operating this great Roach Supply company, ROCHE. RoachSupply.com, or stop by Honesdale. Stop by Chapman Supply in South Abington Township. They'll take care of you. Tom from Dallas texts in, Democrats haven't met an illegal they wanted to deport. Just look at Tampon Tim and how he pardoned that child rapist. That's insane. I brought that up to you guys when it happened. The child rapist was pardoned by Tim, by the way, the vice presidential candidate for the Democrat Party. Their answer to manhood. He said we shouldn't be judged on a bad day. The illegal immigrant raped the child for years. The whole Democrat Party is sick, says Tom from Dallas. I can't disagree with you. Cannot disagree with you. All right. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. Well, sound quality's not the best, so we'll cut this a little short. But Murph tells us this date, 1977, Bulldog found the actual deal. The Rolling Stones joined on stage by Linda Ronstadt at the Tucson Community Center in her hometown of Tucson, Arizona, to perform Tumblin' Dice, which she remade for her album, Simple Dreams. Murph giving us a lot of info there, but we just couldn't get a great tape of it, but that's okay. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. Somebody texted in, Bob, Tampon Tim said we shouldn't judge a man for his worst moment. That is so stupid on its face. What a scumbag idiot he is. Shouldn't judge a man for his worst moment. We do it all the time. He continued, I would ask him, what about the rape victim who had numerous worst moments over the course of years? Bad moments from this animal. These people are sick. Also, all the trans people that are supporting Palestine and the Islamic Republic are too stupid to realize that they'd be the first ones executed for being freaks. I'm telling you, it's stupidity at a level you can't make up. The idiocy of the Green Ridge Neighborhood Association never fails to make me chuckle. Joe Biden said he's from Baltimore. Do you get it, Green Ridge Neighborhood Association? He's denied you 3 times, just like St. Peter. You idiots. And you still put a Biden banner up. By the way, there's no hometown hero banner for Biden in Baltimore. That's for sure, because they're smarter than you. You're idiots. And it's Biden banner disgrace, stolen valor. Stolen valor because he never served in the military. He dodged. And that's what the hometown hero banners are for. Biden banner disgrace, day 220. The man from Baltimore who didn't serve, honored by the stupid idiots at the Green Ridge Neighborhood Association. And I like to follow this up because I get so outraged at those fools. She says, I have met many famous people, Mother Teresa, Saint Teresa. I've met many famous people, successful people, wealthy people, and powerful people. None of us, not you or me or them, ever do great things. But we can all do small things with great love. And together, we can do something wonderful. Saint Teresa, Mother Teresa. Perfect counterpoise to having to think about sickening Joe Biden and the idiot jackasses at the Green Ridge Neighborhood Association who are debasing our neighbors, or our veterans, rather. Unbelievable. Yeah, somebody texted in. Paige Cognetti with this little freak, Jason Landau Goodman, Mr. Mutilation. That's Mr. Mutilation, Jason Landau Goodman, raising money for, and I mean an ecstatic Paige Cognetti posing next to him for a picture. Because he knows she'll vote for child mutilation. His big cause. That's why he's raising money at his home for her. Yuck. Both of them disgusting. 11 o'clock. That's on my Picardo Jewelers watch. And by the way, it's an amazing jewelry store. But I don't want you to forget that my Bacardo's watch, and it says Bacardo's on it, that's the one I asked for, is not the only brand they have, because it is the watch store. Raymond Weil, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinoa, Luminox, Swiss Army Seiko, Ball Watches, Tory Burch, Victorinox, Bulova, G-Shock, and more. Bacardo's. A great store, great people, great family, 3 generations themselves. Amazing. 11:01. Time for the news with Brian Hughes. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Great good morning, everyone. It's 11:08 a.m. on this beautiful, well, on my Bacardo's watch, of course, on this beautiful but a little rainy July day, year of our Lord 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Serenity Care senior living community, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we salute today, thanks to John. We've lost them this year, but this tribute helps us remember them. Robert Ryan Taylor, Earl Hoden, late of Arlington, Virginia, but he was from Scranton, Daniel Belinsky, Bloomsburg, and Sheldon Law Groner, Bloomsburg. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here. Now, Bulldog, you cut off the music. What'd you cut off my music for while I was still talking? Just felt like it? Is that what we're doing now? Everybody's doing what they feel like? I'm telling you, this guy, he's a bulldog. He's very defiant. I didn't name him Bulldog just because he looks like a bulldog. Yeah, do you see what he does? Do you see this? All right. Well, the bulldog, we know what they say. Payback's a bitch. I'll get him. So, this live stream of the program brought to you by Roach Supply, the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania. Headquartered in Honesdale, Chapman Supply in South Abington Township. They are the best for your kitchen and bath, the most important and most expensive parts of your home, both for enjoyment and for resale. So visit Roach Supply, R-O-C-H-E, roachsupply.com today, or visit their stores in Honesdale and South Abington Township. Now, let's talk about the war in Iran. Now, I've been saying this for a few months now. As soon as it was clear that the Iranians were not, or were going to continue to try to disrupt trade out of through the Strait of Hormuz, we needed to do what we needed to do. Now, there's probably only one alternative, and that is troops on the ground. Wherever they have to go to prevent attacks on civilian shipping through the strait. Period. I don't know why we're not doing it. I really don't. It's a slow drip. I'm disagreeing with Trump's strategy on this. And by the way, I'm one, as we say in Dunmore, 1,000% behind the necessity of attacking Iran and degrading their nuclear capabilities, because they were a nightmare for 48 years. If they obtained a nuclear weapon, it would be almost game over, because they had every intention of using their nuclear weapons if they developed these devices. They said it over and over and over and over again. Now, he's got to go after their conventional capability that can and has been disrupting the Strait of Hormuz. Period. Done. And you got to do it with whatever necessary. So I don't know. Somebody says Trump needs to retaliate against Russia for helping Iran target U.S. forces in the Middle East. we're already in the soup with Russia, providing all kinds of assistance, financial, military, and technical to Ukraine. This is the way things are done. And you could escalate beyond any place you could turn back from and turn two regional conflicts that are, at least for the moment, distinct and separate into a world war. So, no, I disagree with you completely. And by the way, we do this all the time against our adversaries, provide intelligence and other information and help. We do it. We do it. Now, Tom from Dallas says, on a much lighter note, he says he has a feeling that the Bulldog's scratching his nose with his middle finger. He better not be. I'll go right in. I'll stop the show. I'll go right in there, and we'll go at it. By the way, Trump's meeting with Lebanon's president at the White House. And I got to tell you, Donald Trump, too much gold. Too much gold in the White House, in the Oval Office. Separate issue, though. You have to know what has happened. Now, the Middle East, and this references Islamism. The Middle East was relatively peaceful. And, in fact, Lebanon and Beirut in particular was called the Paris of the Middle East. These were prosperous, peaceful countries, particularly Lebanon. Syria, less so in terms of prosperity. But the Islamists have come in and destroyed these countries. And now, and by the way, destroyed it for Muslims as well as Christians. And they've virtually wiped out the Christians throughout the Middle East intentionally. Don't think that's not a message that you should understand for Muslims, Islamists running for office in this country. Please don't think they don't want to rule over you. Don't think it for a second. But he's meeting with the president of Lebanon. They're getting along well. Trump's a very personable guy. He's a very fun guy. He's a very engaging person. And he's getting the Trump treatment. It's a big deal for a leader of a small country like Lebanon to be in the Oval Office just by itself. I'm telling you, the overall strategy in the Middle East is outstanding. But right now, this reticence to put troops on the ground or to do whatever is necessary to eliminate Iran and its rogue Islamist Nazi government from controlling the Strait of Hormuz is a major failing. And this delay is causing economic tension at home, which is going to hurt the Republicans. It's going to hurt them at least as much as the communists take over the Democrat Party, now apparent, the communist Islamist takeover of the Democrat Party. That's going to hurt the Democrats, but gas prices are going to hurt the Republicans. And he's got to get this resolved, period. All right. Time to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. We've also got a great history. 1969, as Apollo 11 astronauts blast off from the moon. And 2011, the end of the space shuttle program. We'll take a break. We'll be back with all of that and more on the Bob Cordaro Show. Ray Parker Jr., he moved up from number 8 to number 3 with Ghostbusters. Was that from the first Ghostbusters movie? Yeah, I guess it was, right? Bob Cordaro back with you. And, of course, our space program at very different stages. The end of the 30-year-old space shuttle program as Atlantis landed at Cape Canaveral. And 1969, they blast off from the moon after Neil Armstrong took those historic steps. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. By the way, this hour brought to you by our great friend and your trusted source for Florida real estate, Tina Morocco. MURACCO, Global Sales Advisor at Sotheby's International, Naples, Florida. You could reach her at Sotheby's International, Naples, Florida, or Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com. And then Tina Morocco on any social media. There is this outrageous candidate, and I'm happy my friend Mark Mayer is reminding me of him, but you can't avoid him. Abdul El Sayed. And he is he's a complete, insane Islamist radical. And he may win the Democrat primary for U.S. Senate. Now, this guy's worse than Graham Plattner. Graham Plattner was just a total scumbag. This guy is evil. Now, he's sort of the tip of the spear for Islamists. And I say to you, Islamists, not Muslims. And some people, well, there's a difference. The Islamists who want to submit you to their will, they are not democracy lovers. They hate democracy. They want Sharia law, period. Now, this guy, Syed, he wants border enforcement, ICE, all federal law dissolved, done, finished. He wants to systematically destroy the Constitution. This is what he says. He's using, remember the 8 things our friend Bart Billings talked about that the communists wanted to do? One of them being take over the healthcare system. Well, this is also part of his deal. Then they can control your health, your access to healthcare. By the way, don't forget that that's what they were doing during the Biden administration. Don't forget that. They were looking at your credit cards. Let us not forget this. They were looking at your credit card purchases and pressuring credit card companies to not let you buy things like guns and ammunition that they don't want you to have. They were debanking people and pushing banks to tell customers, you believe in X, we don't want you to bank here anymore. Information that they didn't get out, which turned out to be truth. Like that the so-called vaccine didn't prevent getting COVID or spreading it. That Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Just please remember this. They would use, and by the way, you have to have a battery-powered car. That's where we were headed. And they could shut you off from driving. So all these things that sound nice, even if they're stupid underneath, like battery-powered cars. And by the way, they're fine. They're great. I've driven in some. I've driven some. Gorgeous vehicles. I can't afford them, but that's my problem. Not the people who own them, who also have regular cars. Separate issue. All of the things they are advocating, from the open border to gender mutilation to all of it, leads to a takeover of your life. I'm not sitting here wearing a tinfoil hat. That's what it does. Period. And that's what it will do. Human nature tells you this over and over and over again. We still haven't even answered for things like chemtrails in the sky. JB sent this into me. He did not create, this is about Trump. He did not create the Democrats' hate. He exposed it. He did not create the media's bias. He exposed it. He did not create a corrupt FBI, CIA, and Department of Justice. He exposed it. Donald Trump didn't create the deep state or D.C. swamp. He exposed it. He did not create the corruption in both political parties. He exposed it. And he's doing a great job. Thank you, Mr. President. Amen. Amen. Guys, I'm telling you, please don't for a moment, and I would call it out if it was the Republican Party, the policies and the direction and fellow travelers in the Democrat Party of today are driven forward and they're either driven forward or following evil. Period. By the way, somebody texts in, how many U.S. troops do you want to put on the ground in Iran? 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. Whatever it takes to make sure that the Strait of Hormuz is open and that commerce is flowing freely for the sake of the world economy. Whatever you need. You get into a war, you do what you need to do. And on the world stage, it's kill or be killed with Islamist lunacy. And by the way, they're operating on multiple tacks. Iran was not only doing what they were doing, trying to develop a nuclear weapon to use it to destabilize the world economy, destroy Israel, blackmail Europe with the length of their ballistic missiles, all that. Believe me, this is what's happening. There's not Dr. Evil, but there are global evil players who seek to control everyone, who seek to control by the way, who seek to destroy the United States of America and its freedoms because it prevents them from controlling the world populace. Get your head out of the sand. And the Democrat Party of today is leading the charge to destroy America. And that is because they're getting their funding from people who hate America, who are part of this global cabal. It's that simple. Follow the money. Why do we know Paige Connetti believes in evil policies like mutilation of children? Because her fundraisers are child mutilators. That's why. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Veterans Tribute, weather, more. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, as with every hour, this day, as with every day, brought to you lovingly, proudly, patriotically, by our man John Basiliga. Tuesday, we feature one of his great companies, Serenity Care. It's a personal care community with 4 senior living facilities. In the Mid-Valley section of Lackawanna County, Old Forge at Lackawanna's southern tip, Wyoming, and Kingston. Their slogan, live better, and they deliver completely renovated, state-of-the-art, private and semi-private rooms, suites, companion suites. Even the outdoor, completely redone. Everything's redone. Restaurant quality meals. All of that. Serenity Care, personal care community. Sheldon Law Groner. He was 93. He was from East 5th Street, Bloomsburg. We lost him July 7th in Fort Belvoir, Virginia. Born in Bloomsburg, Law graduated from Bloomsburg High School, class of 1951. He went on to graduate from the United States Naval Academy, 1956. He accepted a commission in the Air Force, and then he married his wife, Jean Mears Groner, 1957. The couple moved throughout the country, living in New York, New Jersey, Alaska, California, Idaho, Texas, Pennsylvania, Maryland. Law joined the Air National Guard as a reservist in 1963 while working first with Mears Oil Accessories and later IBM. In 1976, he returned to full-time active duty as a commander of the 111th Civil Engineering Flight, Willow Grove, PA. He retired as a colonel in 1989 after serving with the Office of the Assistant Secretary of Defense, where he worked on construction budgets and legislative issues for the Department of Defense. Law and Jean returned home to Bloomsburg after that, where they enjoyed restoring Jean's historic family home. Law was an active member of the community, the Bloomsburg Public Library, Columbia County Historical and Genealogical Society, and so many more organizations. One of Law's favorite fall traditions was attending United States Naval Academy football games in Annapolis. He loved to golf, evening car rides. Survived by 3 children, 1 grandchild, and some other family members. Sheldon Law Groner, Bloomsburg, our great veteran this hour, brought to you by our man John Basiliga and Serenity Care Personal Care Community, who says to you, live better. AccuWeather forecast today, a few thunderstorms, some severe, cloudy and humid. Storms can bring flooding downpours, hail, damaging wind gusts, and an isolated tornado, high 80. Tonight, humid, a heavy thunderstorm early. It'll be about 68. Tomorrow, sunshine and some clouds, thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots, but a great day otherwise. Humid, high 80, low 55. Thursday, less humid with plenty of sunshine, 81 degrees, low 53. Friday, mostly sunny, high 83, low 56. Saturday, mostly sunny, high 85, low 57. Perfect water park days. Another great water park week at Montage Mountain, where it's 75 degrees as I speak. We're back. Thank you, Gerard. Of course, 11:45 here, but it is 3 in the morning in Noumea, New Caledonia, Rick Bigelow tells me. And Sinatra's on a bar stool there. I promise he is. I'm sure of it. That's where he's singing from as we wind down the program. Somebody texted this in. The credit card thing was real during the Biden administration. I was at a giant big box store, and a young lady was trying to check out. She had a pretty full shopping cart, and she was trying to buy a single box of very common hunting ammo for her husband. The cashier rang everything up, and her card kept declining. The clerk went up to the front of the store and re-rang everything up, and still the same issue. When the clerk took the box of ammo off the card, finally approved. Oh, it was real. Battery-powered cars were part of the same conspiracy to control you. You notice when I start the show, that people, well, some, not many, people get why I have an opening the way I do. And I talk about specifically for their own comfort, benefit, or power. Well, they don't want you to do certain things. They won't want you to have certain things. They don't want you to say certain things for their own comfort, benefit, or power. And one of them is to have your own gun, to have your own weapon, to have your own ammunition, to be able to drive your car wherever you want. These are basic freedoms. Say what you think. Say what you believe. These are basic freedoms they're trying to limit. Believe me, it's ingrained in the ideology of the Democrat Party today. Where this ideology starts is in an evil place, believe me. And the Democrat Party has adopted it for one reason or another, the main reason being the source of their funds. Evil billionaires who hate America, evil billionaire groups that hate America. That's where their money's coming from. That's who's paying for these protesters. I saw these stupid asses outside a building on Lackawanna Avenue protesting to Rob Bresnahan. He's not even in that building, you stupid idiots. They don't know what they're doing. And they were shuffling. I almost forgot to mention this. They were shuffling in and out teams of these people to protest in front of that building. They're being paid. They're being paid well. Their signs are being paid for. Yes. They're the enemy. 11:50, I'm at Ricardo's watch. Evanescence, this day 2003, Murph tells us. They had a number 3 hit with Bring Me to Life. And we're going to finish with Tony Bennett, because Murph tells us on this date, 2023, his music that bridged several generations. He passed away. We lost him at the age of 96. Over the course of his 8-decade career, he placed 13 songs in the top 40 charts. His signature song, I Left My Heart in San Francisco. I'm blanking on the guy. I left my heart in Santa Francisco. Louis Prima did a great cover of that song. But yeah, we're going to finish with Left My Heart in San Francisco. And my heart was broken by San Francisco politicians. That's me. Our great, great city. Our only European city. And look what they did. Somebody asking about these new license plates. And good, you got me on a bugaboo here. Number one, the license plates. They're as mediocre, actually sub-mediocre. The new license plates, they're sub-mediocre, just like Shapiro. They're a fitting tribute to his governorship. They're stupid. I don't want a new one. I've got mine. I know my license plate number. It's a way better license plate. The new ones suck. They have too many numbers on them for you to remember on top of that. Blah. You can't tell that's Pennsylvania. You can't tell what it is from without close surgical view. They are horrible license plates. And while I'm on the subject, so yesterday, I get this notice from the state. And it says, we're going to suspend your vehicle registration because you don't have insurance. Well, we switched insurance carriers in March. I've got insurance on the car, Big Lou. How could you drive around without it? You would never risk it. But they're going to suspend my registration. So I have to rush off to one of these places. What was it called? I was trying to find Northeast Title and Tag. And this is Express Title. And I go down there, $150 to undo the state's mistake. Then I had paid $119 extra, so it cost me $30 to request the $119 back. So $180 day yesterday. Oh, boy, did that aggravate me. Hey, Bulldog, somebody asking, did we ever look at that Alan King video? You forgot all about it, didn't you? Remember the Alan King video regarding Survived? Huh? Are you going to remember to play it tomorrow? Listener, you've got to tell me to play it. I'll play it tomorrow. The Bulldog has it. Yeah, somebody says, they make the plates mediocre so you spend money on a nice-looking personalized plate. But it does look like a New York plate. It looks like any plate. It's terrible. Another failure of the Shapiro administration. All right. We got to let Tony finish it up, don't you think? Thank you to everybody for being with us today as we approach the noon hour. Listen to Rob O'Donnell this afternoon because he'll have more on this lunatic Paige Cognetti supporter and fundraiser. God willing, I'll be back with you tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to gavel early. The closed. Well, no, I'll wait for the gavel, Bulldog. You got to pay attention. But we're going to say sayonara, and we're going to ask you. And I'm going to hope that God's willing to let me be here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock with all of you. Great to be with you every day. You know that. You know that. And I'm done. Let's go. Tony Bennett, you finish it up. We are adjourned. Club for Common Sense.